I usually get this complaint from people, especially when they reach out to me and as a mentor, and I communicate back to them or I reply their messages. A lot of them come back saying, "Oh, sir, I can't believe you replied my message." Because I had this experience with somebody who I considered a mentor, and I tried to reach out to them, and they ignored me. They didn't reply my message, and I can sense some disappointment in their voices when they tell me this. I can also sense some amount of resentment towards these people that they feel didn't get back to them or ignored them or snubbed them. So I want to dedicate this session to addressing this issue. And this session is going to be divided into two parts. In the first part, I'm going to be addressing those who I call the mentees, those who are looking up to people and reach out to them and they feel they've been snubbed or ignored. Now I'm going to be going through the first part, and the first part I'm going to talk on 3 reasons why it might appear or seem to you like your mentor is ignoring you. And the second part, I'm going to be talking to the mentors, and these are the people that are being reached out to and for some reason don't get back to the mentees. And I'm going to be talking about 3 things or 3 reasons why I feel it's not a bad idea to get back to people that reach out to you as mentees or people that admire you. So I'm going to get straight to it. Now, talking to the mentees, there are 3 reasons why a mentor might not get back to you the way you desire. The first thing is time. Time. Now, there are these people that we respect. And we respect them because a lot of them, because they do things that we cannot do or we really wish we could do. We kind of aspire to be like them, and it might be in a skill set. But one thing we need to realize is that these people have become experts or they possess this skill set because of the time they've put into it. So they spend a lot of time doing whatever it is you admire them for. Like, I make logos and I'm an expert at it. I've become an expert at it because I spent a lot of time doing it. And I can imagine it's the same thing for any other person that's an expert in any field. Now, this spending of time doing what it is they do has come at a cost. And that cost, a lot of times, is the cost of not having the luxury of time to spend on social media platforms like you might have as a mentee. They might not have that luxury of time to spend on Instagram or WhatsApp to reply messages or to even look through messages or look through people's statuses. They do not have that time because they are so focused at that thing which you respect them for. So you must, as a mentee, consider that these people do not have the time. Not all of them have the time to spend at reading messages. You'll be shocked how many of them have these apps installed, but only go to it maybe once in a week. Sometimes some of them once a month, because they are so wrapped up in the work that they are putting out there that inspires you. So that might be a reason. You might just assume that this person has seen your message. Sometimes they've seen your message, but the truth is they have other messages also on that platform, which they might not have the time to respond to every single one of them because they need to get back to work. So there's the time factor. There's also the second factor, which I call the approach. Now, your approach to contacting your mentor is also very important. From my experience, I realized a lot of mentees have this, what I call a restaurant approach to approaching a mentor. So it's a 3-course meal approach where they serve the appetizer or starter in their conversation. Then they move to the main meal, and then they end up with the dessert. And I would explain what I mean by this. A lot of times when people contact me, I realize that the conversation goes something like this. They send a message, "Hello, sir," and they stop and they wait for me to reply. And I reply, "Hello." And then the next question is, "How are you doing, sir?" And they stop and wait for a reply. I say, "Oh, I'm doing fine today." And the third thing they ask is, "How is the family? Hope the family is fine, sir." And they wait for a reply. And it goes on and on like this before they get to what they actually want to say. Now, there's nothing wrong with pleasantries. But the thing is that you must know, and this is very tied to what I call time too. Time. You see, the first point I said about time, a lot of your mentors don't have the luxury of time to reply this restaurant 3-course meal approach to your conversation. So what I would advise is put all the pleasantries in one message and get right to the point. So I would say a message like this would work better if you're approaching your mentor. Say, "Good morning, sir. Hope you're doing well. Hope the family is fine. I just want to let you know that you really inspire me and your work has done a lot to help me to be a better this." And then you now go ahead and you say, "I would appreciate if you can take time to advise me or tell me more about this whenever you are free." One message. One message. It is not a back and forth. "How are you? How are things going? How is the weather?" The truth is that if you do that, that person is going to tune out. And the person might not tune out intentionally. The person might have time while they're on "Hello, how are you? How is the family?" But by the time you get to that, "How is the weather? Hope the weather is not too hot wherever you are," that person has been distracted by a client's call or distracted by his or her children or their spouse or stuff like that, or something has come up to distract them, and they never go back to that message to complete that conversation with you. So it's important that you put that conversation in one message and tell them you are willing to wait for them to get back to you. So that's the approach method. The third thing why your mentor might not be getting back to you or ignoring you is what I call life. Life. And this is a very, very important point, and I need the mentees to pay attention here. Life, a lot of times, gets in the way. Life gets in the way. Now, the truth is that we all get a little bit misled by what we see on social media. So you might see somebody's social media page and it looks like the person has their life all well put together. Oh, they are living the perfect life. In your opinion, you go to their website, oh, it just seems like everything is working out. So why wouldn't they have time? Why wouldn't they have time to reply your message based on what you've seen on social media? But I must let you know that social media is not life. It's a perception of life that people put out there. You must be cognizant of the fact that when they get off that phone, life happens. So some of your mentors might be dealing with issues, some of them financial issues. Yes, they look successful to you, but they have financial struggles. Some of them might have financial struggles. Some of them have health struggles. Yes, they look all happy and look very healthy, but they have health challenges they are dealing with. It might not even be their health. It might be the health of their loved ones, maybe their spouse, their children, their parents, that they have to deal with. Some of them have marriage issues or relationship issues that they have to go back to immediately they are off that social media. So don't assume that because they look like they're all put together, they are. They might not be all put together as you think. So it's important that mentees become very understanding of the fact that life happens. You have challenges as a mentee. Your mentor also has very unique challenges too. So think of it this way. Anytime you want to get your mentees or your mentor's attention, try sending a message like this. Good afternoon, how are you doing? My name is this. I just want to say your work really inspires me. I think you are doing a great job. And instead of asking a question right off the bat, just say, I want you to know that whatever you're going through right now, I'm praying for you. Now tell me how that mentor is not going to get back to you. Because you understand that life happens. And you're making the mentor know that you care. Now, I want to address the mentors. And I'm going to also address the mentors, pointing out 3 different points. Now, if you're a mentor and you have people approaching you, sending you messages, there are 3 reasons why you should get back to them. No matter what you're going through, you should make time to get back to them. The first reason is privilege. It is a privilege for another human being to reach out to you and say you inspire them, to tell you that they look up to you as a person. It is one of the most counterintuitive things we do as a human being. It's very against the grain for a human being to look at another human being and say, this person, and admit it. They might think it, but to admit it is another thing. This person is actually better than me at doing this thing. It takes a whole lot of humility to do that. And that should be rewarded and recognized. A lot of people, the natural thing is to internalize it and never tell the person. And it breeds and it festers into envy. So the person that reaches out to you and say, your work is inspiring, because I've done it to a lot of people that I admired, and I knew it was the most humbling thing I had done. Because when you send out that message, some amount of insecurity comes up in you as a mentee or as an admirer, and you just feel, I just put myself out there. I really hope this person gets back to me. And when the person gets back to you, there's a feeling of overwhelming joy that you have as a mentee. And I want mentors to understand this. It's very humbling for someone to reach out to you, and it's a privilege for you to experience that in your lifetime. The second reason why I feel it's important for mentors to reach out to their mentees is therapy. Now, I understand we all have problems, we all have issues. As I said, mentors have issues too. Financial issues, marriage issues, health issues, mental issues. We have those issues. Very true. I can empathize. But the truth is, we are the happiest when we take the focus off ourselves and focus on others. It's how life is. We are the happiest when we focus on helping others than helping ourselves. It's the most therapeutic thing ever. Looking away from your problems and focusing on someone else's problem to help them. As a matter of fact, you'll be surprised how your problems will seem to evaporate when you take that approach. So the truth is, you might think you are giving to your mentees, but they are giving more to you by reaching out to you to ask your advice. They are giving more to you by reaching out to you to encourage you and say you're an inspirational person. It's therapeutic. The therapy to that marriage problem you have, it's actually in helping somebody else with their business problem. The therapy to that health problem you have is in helping somebody that's reaching out to you on WhatsApp or Instagram. You'll be surprised how it takes your mind off your illness and it puts your mind in a place of relevance. And when your mind is in a place of relevance and in a place of disease, the disease will begin to vanish because your body will begin to act against that disease. So it's a therapeutic thing, and I advise mentors to take advantage of it as much as possible. Number 3, and lastly, is legacy. Legacy. Now we are all working hard to build a name and to build a brand and to build something, build a company. But none of these things will last. None. No matter how good you are at what you do, people will forget. People forget the work you do. One thing people never forget is how you make them feel. People never forget how you make them feel. People might forget how beautiful your work is, whether as a fashion designer, as a singer, as a consultant. They might forget, but they never forget, oh, she smiled at me, he shook my hand, he hugged my children, how that made them feel. They never forget. And I got to realize this, I think about 2 years ago, or was it last year when Kobe Bryant died? I was expecting to see a lot of people put up reels of his display on the basketball court. But instead, a lot of people were talking about what he said to them as teammates, what he said on talk shows, what he wrote, how he was as a family person, what he said to his children. It wasn't about the basketball anymore. It was about who he was as a person and how he was able to connect with others. So if you really want to leave a legacy, you must get in other people's stories. The people with the strongest stories are not the ones that write their own stories. The people with the strongest, most inspirational stories are the ones who are able to make an appearance in other people's stories. And they have a cumulative, bigger story than every other person because they are in everybody's stories. They make a cameo appearance in everybody's story. That is the greatest achievement you can have as a mentor. So get in someone's story today. Let someone say, oh, I would never forget the day this mentor inspired me. I will never forget the day this mentor made out time to hang out with me. That is what they remember at the end of the day. Now, I really hope that this session helps us to understand the value we all play, either as mentors and as mentees, and helps us to be more empathetic towards each other.